So, what's going on, people? Welcome back to another show after a 5-day break from my streams. And I'm John, and this afternoon I've got the German football expert. I've got Sacha joining me. And Sacha, I don't want to say good afternoon in German, but good afternoon to you anyway.
Yeah, good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Welcome anytime. Yeah, so guys, if you do like the videos and what I've done, could you please stick a like on the video? Please subscribe if you are new. And also do follow Sacha on his Twitter account. And he's also got a, I think he's got a YouTube channel, which I'll come to later on. So, yeah, so Sacha, tell me about yourself and what you do.
Well, I'm a sports journalist. I'm covering Borussia Dortmund for a German newspaper, which is actually based in Dortmund. It's one of the bigger ones, let's say, and they own various smaller newspapers. There's a radio station included in our building. And yeah, we do a lot of stuff. We do podcasts, we do live video, all sort of things. One of my colleagues is following the German team right now. He was in the training camp and so on. So that's my job. I'm basically responsible for our live YouTube show for the Bundesliga and Champions League matches. Obviously, we also had one for the German Cup final, which Dortmund played and won. So that's my job in football. And then I'm covering a lot of stuff in handball. Handball is not big in the UK. I know that many people don't even know what it is. But let's say it's a little bit similar to basketball. We just don't have the baskets. We got goals. So if you want to compare it to this, yeah, that's basically what I do. And I'm commentating for Eurosport Germany, DAZN Germany, when it comes to handball. Also, the Olympics will start soon. So that's my job. Football, Borussia Dortmund, and handball.
Fantastic. And there's always a great comedy show as well. And there you go, guys. So, yeah, I mean, what it is, so I've been doing YouTubing for about a year. Done it for 4 months and had to stop because problems at the minute. I kept it in November, 721 subscribers, and absolutely fantastic. So, yeah, so we're going to talk about this afternoon. We're going to talk about the England-Germany. This is going to come on Tuesday. But before we go on to that, you had 3 games in the group stages, and you took on France, you took on Portugal, and you got through against Hungary. So, are you impressive with the German last 3 games going into the England game?
No, I'm not impressed. Are you impressed? I'm not impressed at all because I mean, it seems to me that some sort of spirit is lacking and confidence is also lacking, because if you look at the team, they got 12 players who won the Champions League this year or last year. So it's not an average side. It's not like we lack the quality when it comes to the players. It's just setting up the team, the tactics, and I don't know if it's clicking between the coach and the team, because the coach will leave after the European Championship, and he's some sort of lame duck. It seems like this, that the players don't seem to follow him anymore. He's now the coach of the national team for 15 years. That's a very long time, and maybe it's too long of a time. Of course, he won the World Cup and he reached a lot of semifinals, but in the last couple of years, also at the World Cup, where we didn't get out of the group stage, it just didn't feel right anymore. And I think it shows again during this European Championship.
Wow, I totally agree. I mean, you got some good players there. Havertz, a great player. You got Toni Kroos. You got Dominic Gulsons. I watched closely because I do love Serie A football, and I'm watching closely at Atalanta. You got some good players there. Hummels is not as good as he used to be, I don't think. You've got Gnabry as well up front. Sane. You've got some talent players there, Sacha. And for me, I just don't think they're clicking yet. Against Portugal, I think he played really well. Against Hungary, I thought, for me, Hungary were the better team, to be honest with you, against Germany. I'm not going to lie there. But, I mean, when you got Hans coming in, the guy for Bayern Munich, is that Hans Flick? Yes. He's going to come in and take over and whack and low. I'm sure the changeover is going to be so easy because it's got half the Bayern Munich players already, sort of thing. So you know him, Flick, and know them. And I think he'd take on the man. I think it turned Germany into a fantastic team. And so have you got faith in Hans Flick? Do you think he'll do the job? I think he will,
Yeah, I think so. And it's also, we got a talented group of players, as we just said. You mentioned some names, and there are many others. Gundogan is playing awesome football for City. I mean, he played fantastic season. I think he scored like 13, 14, 15 goals in the Premier League alone. That's not the type of numbers he usually puts on the table, because he is a player who usually scores like 8 or 9 goals, maybe. So he had a great, great season. And he is not playing well. Toni Kroos is playing for Real Madrid. He's not playing well. And those are just the older players. We got also many younger, talented players. Serge Gnabry, you mentioned, he's playing for Bayern Munich. Leroy Sané is playing for Bayern Munich. Jamal Musial, who's playing for Bayern Munich, who used to play for the English under national teams. He's a great player and a good prospect. Kai Havertz from Chelsea. Timo Werner, who used to score when he still played in Germany. So he's a good player. I think Hansi Flick will do a good job. And it's good because you can't change all the players, because we got good players. So changing the coach is a good start. And I think a little bit of fresh air will also help this national team come back to the performances we used to have. I mean, we can still win the tournament, all right, but it's not convincing. It's not convincing anyone in Germany right now the way the German national team is playing.
I totally agree there. I mean, England not convincing at all whatsoever. We'll come to them later on. I've got to go some comments there as well, because I've got quite a few coming through. I've got Lee here. Afternoon, guys. Congrats on being able to get a journalist on the channel, John. Thank you very much, Lee. And also, the same question. Thoughts on Jadon Sancho? Not featured much so far in the Euros. Are you surprised?
I'm shocked, actually, because he was injured at the start of the year. Not start of the season, start of the year, was injured a little bit. He did not have a good start to the season. But once Dortmund changed coaches and replaced Lucien Favre with Edin Terzic, I think it really paid off for Jadon Sancho. He started to score, he started to assist, and he played so great late in the season when he came back from the injury. He was on fire. He scored twice in the cup final, and I mean, I don't understand. Maybe you can explain why Southgate is in the first game. He wasn't even on the roster. I mean, he was sitting on the stand somewhere watching the game. That's ridiculous. I don't say that he has to play for 90 minutes in every match, but when you watch him in the Bundesliga for the last 2.5 years, he was just outstanding. And that's why I don't get it. And I don't want to promote him because I'm working in Dortmund and he's playing for Borussia Dortmund. But I think he's an out-of-the-world talent. And his attitude also changed during this season. I think he became more mature of a player. He's tracking back also after lost balls. That's stuff he didn't do that much last season and the season before. He learned because he's getting smarter year after year. And I would have started probably Foden, Kane, and Sancho. If you put 3 players, 2 wingers who are fast and can play on either side, and you have 1 striker in the middle who can finish, I mean, that's a good combination. Raheem Sterling, after the season he played, I don't know what's the issue putting Sancho on the stands. I don't get it.
I don't get it as well, because at the end of the day, Southgate only picks players. He picks his mates, and he picks, so he's picking players on form. Maybe he has to be watching enough Bundesliga instead, you know what I mean? But Sancho's been outstanding last season. Sterling hasn't been that great, but he's scoring goals. And for England, he's only seen scoring goals. But the fact is, Sancho in these games, he has to play somewhere, because I do like Jadon Sancho. He has been absolutely outstanding this season, and I just don't get it. I mean, Gareth Southgate just do not trust him. He doesn't trust himself, by the way. But commenting a bit, I've got to leave again from a German perspective. What are you expecting from England on Tuesday?
It's hard to say, because they got the talent. You know, if Southgate is smart, and I don't know how you rate him as a coach in England, I can't tell, because I'm not following English media so much. But if he's smart, he starts Sancho. He lets him play against the German players he knows quite well. Of course, they know him as well. But he showed week in, week out in the German league how good of a player he is. He will be extremely motivated to play and to perform well in this game. So I would start him. But against Portugal, Germany was able to use the space Portugal was giving to Germany, because they played attacking football. So on the other hand, maybe England should just give Germany the ball. That didn't work out for them against France because they conceded early. That didn't work out for them against Hungary because they didn't find any kind of solutions for a long time during the game. So I think giving the ball to Germany would be kind of smart.
Yeah, I totally agree. Absolutely amazing, that man. But we're just so defensive, and with players who've got, they should be doing a lot better, sort of thing. But I've got James. After James have a side full of experience with likes of Noah, Hummels, and Cruz, also in Grandirand as well. But who is the one player England have to keep an eye on? And also from James, Rudiger and Grant Durgan could well miss the England match on Tuesday due to cause and having a bruised skull. Do you think this could be an issue for Germany, given the quality of both players?
Yeah, that could be an issue. Although Gündogan, I said before, he had a great season for City. He's not performing well for the German national team. Actually, never did. He had good games at times, but not brilliant games. Also during this European Championship, and maybe they could just put Leon Goretzka on his position and we would be just fine because Goretzka is also a very good player. He was a starter for the Bayern Munich team, which won the Champions League last year. So he got experience and he got the quality. So I don't think that would be an issue. Of course, the bench wouldn't be as deep. That's for sure. With Rudiger, that would be an issue, although I think he could change to a four-line back. I mean, that could be a possibility to have Kimmich on the right, Gosens on the left, Mats Hummels and Ginter in the center. And because I think it didn't work out quite well to have the five line, and it's not working for Germany. And yeah, that's probably an issue. And the first question, I would put an eye on Robin Gosens from Atalanta, the left back. He's a great player. You just should not give any space to him because he's very fast. He's not that skillful of a player, I would say, but he's determined. He wants to work hard. He's running for 90 minutes, and I think he's the threat.
Yeah, I totally agree there. I mean, I can see Gareth Southgate going to change to theatre back. I really do think that. And because he probably think Germany will play theatre back as well. But for me, I think Gosens will have to start. Like, if I was a German fan, he has to start every single time because I think he's a decent player, sort of thing. But it'd be very interesting, sort of thing. Rudiger, he's a quality defender. He really, really is. But sometimes he does switch off. But most of the times, for me, I think he's absolutely brilliant. He was brilliant in the Champions League final. Absolutely amazing. And Steve Bruce, Newcastle manager, he's not, well, I'll be careful on him, but do you think he's coming home for England? In my opinion, no. Do you think he's going to come home for England?
No, I don't think so. It's just because it seems to me that they also lack self-confidence. And if you want to win a tournament, you have to see that the players are confident. You can see that with Italy. They were super confident during the group stage. Yesterday, they struggled a little bit because they were getting nervous because they just didn't score against Austria. And in the next game, Italy will have more space, which is good for them. But they showed all the confidence in the world during the group stage. You have to believe in yourself. And to me, it doesn't look like the English team is confident. I don't know. What do you think?
I watched the 3 games of them, right? But they just passed the ball sideways and backwards as well. There's one incident, I don't know what it was. I think it might have been Trippier or someone else on the right-hand side with someone like 25 yards towards the goal, right? He could have quite crossed it in, right? But what he decided to do is to turn back and play it all the way back to the keeper. What sort of football is that? It is so boring. It's like watching Newcastle United under Steve Bruce. And we played exactly the way like that this season. But for me, I just don't think I'm confident in this England team at all whatsoever. That sort of thing past the back was possession football was okay if you know what you're doing. But I watched them. There's no movement. I just think there's no idea sort of thing. Even attacking players haven't got a clue on the Southgate. I mean, I watched the 3 game. I haven't been impressed. Against Scotland, we should have lost to Scotland, by the way. We should have lost to them. But Croatia wasn't that good a Croatia team. And then the Czech Republic, I just think that I think he wants to win that so he don't get a difficult group in the next stage. So, which turned out to be quite lucky. But for me, are we going to win the tournament? No, we're not. I would not be surprised if we'd gone out on Tuesday night, if I'm quite honest, because Germany always plays plays well in competitions, if you know what I mean. But it doesn't look good for England. I'd love to see us win it on Tuesday because obviously I'm English. But listen, I don't think we've got what it takes to win the competition because of our manager. Because our manager, Southgate, ain't good enough.
I mean, it's interesting. Yeah, that's one point. I don't think that Southgate is good enough. I don't think he has proven anything on the club level before. I think a national team coach should have experience on the highest club level. That's my opinion. Like you should have coached a Champions League team or maybe even a Champions League winning team to be a national coach. That's my state. But I think that also the problem for England is experience for the young talented players like Phil Foden and Jadon Sancho. Of course, they play in the Champions League with their clubs, but give them 2 more tournaments. Like Germany, they had the team which shocked everyone in 2010 and reached the final at the Euro in 2008, and then they grew tournament after tournament. I mean, they had the under 21 European Championship winning side in 2009. And they built on this team. Many of those players who later won the World Cup played on this team. Manuel Neuer, Mats Hummels, Sami Khedira, Mesut Özil. They all played on this under 21 European Championship winning side. And they, tournament after tournament, they got more experience. And in 2014, it paid off finally. So I think for those English players like Foden, Sancho, and many others, because they got young talent. It's not that they don't have the talent. But they're rather young players. They're 20, 21 years old. Maybe if they're 25, they're good enough to win the tournament. So right now, for me, it's probably not the time. They would need a better manager and maybe some more experience. But of course, it's an open game. They can win it. It's 50-50, as I said before.
Yeah, and also as well, that thing is, so England picks players on reputations and big names, not, and also who they play for. They just picks the teams plays for Man U, Liverpool, Chelsea, United, sort of thing. You know what I mean? Look at Italy. There's 3 players. That's the second national team, by the way. They got 3 players in Italy that plays for Sassuolo in Italy, and that's Berardi, Locatelli, and I can't remember saying Rapastori. And well, his name is, but there's 3 of them plays for Sassuolo. You don't have to play for a big club playing for England. You can play for a small club as well. Jack Grealish, 100 million's been linked to Man City, right? 100 million pounds. Unbelievable. They got the money to do it. Yeah, but for me, I mean, I just don't know.
He's not worth 50 million, to be honest.
Grealish.
He's a decent player, but if you look at his stats, he hasn't even scored 20 goals in the Premier League. We are talking about a player who City rates at, I don't know, 90 million pounds or 100 million pounds. Are you crazy? He hasn't even played 100 Premier League games. That's totally insane. And he's getting more expensive because he got an English passport. I mean, if you want to strengthen your team, you have to invest in the best possible talent and not look after the passport. I know they have to have homegrown players. That's the rule. And they need a certain amount. But they should have just kept Jadon Sancho around and should have played him 5 years ago or 3 years ago. And then they would have homegrown players. It's no problem. The talent is there. You just have to play it. And you don't have to overpay for a guy who's not worth it. I know there's some sort of hype around Jack Grealish. But is he that good of a player? I don't think so. I just don't think so.
Wow. I mean, I agree with you. He hasn't even played in the Champions League yet. Declan Rice hasn't been played in the Champions League. Calvin Phillips hasn't been playing in the Champions League. Ben White have not been playing in the Champions League. And you're talking about 50, 60 million pounds for them. Really? I'm not being funny, but it just goes to show that these clubs are willing to pay over the odds just to get the player sort of thing, which I think is absolutely ludicrous. Here's an example. Kalidou Koulibaly, who plays in Napoli. He went to Genk and then he left for Genk for Napoli for £5 million. £5 million. That's what Napoli paid for. Dries Mertens costs £8 million from PSV Eindhoven. Yeah. You look at Frank Kessie, he costs £20 million for Atalanta. You got players like them sort of thing. So Locatelli only costs £12 million for Milan. And these English clubs, right? Yeah, they've got the money. I mean, my club, Newcastle, actually will not spend 50, 67 million pound on a player, sort of thing. We did on Joe Linton, which I'm going to come on to later because you talk about Hoffenheim, so we can talk about a quick word about Joe Linton. In fact, just quick talk about Joe Linton quickly. Right, we used to play for Hoffenheim, just off topic. How do you rate Joe Linton when he played for Hoffenheim? All Newcastle fans watching me chat really want to be interested in this one.
Have you really heard of this player before? That much?
Never heard of him. Never heard of him.
That's the problem, That's the problem. Because some players are just hyped and they're not performing week in, week out. I think that as I said before, with the national team coach, he has to prove himself over a certain amount of time to show his value as a coach. Players have to do the same. These days, I think sometimes it's possible to get into the national team if you're just 19 years old and you play 10 good games. That's not enough to convince me. I mean, like you just said, Koulibaly, £5 million, Dries Mertens, £8 million. Aubameyang went from Saint-Etienne to Borussia Dortmund, and they paid £10 million. I think 10 or 11 million pounds. It's ridiculous. It's all about the scouting and just not having a name out there and just overpaying. It's like, I don't think it's a smart move to put out your money on the table and just pay that much of money, kind of money for average players. And I say that with all due respect to the players, of course. I mean, like Grealish, he's on form. He played a good season at Villa. That's not the issue. But £100 million, it's a joke.
It is. Unless you're killing Mbappe sort of thing, like, he's worth the money. I think £198 million he costs. Wow. And just quickly on Joe Linton again, do you think Joe Linton's worth £40 million? And how do you rate Joe Linton when he was at Hoffenheim?
40, you said 40 million?
£40 million.
Yeah, not 14, right?
No, 40.
No. I don't think that any player who's not playing for Bayern Munich or Dortmund, or maybe a Leipzig player, or a super talent like Florian Wirtz, who's playing for Leverkusen, is worth that kind of money in the Bundesliga. Not a single player. If you're not playing for the top 2 or 3 clubs, and Hoffenheim is just mid of the table club, no, he's not worth that kind of money. No, not at all.
When he used to play for Hoffenheim, was he that good? Was he that good at Hoffenheim?
No, I don't think that any player. There's one player who's very good at Hoffenheim. That is Andre Kramaric, Croatian national team player, who's very good. He's scoring on a regular basis or for many years, which is kind of surprising that he's still playing for Hoffenheim. But maybe other teams just say, okay, he's too expensive. We can't pay him. He's happy at Hoffenheim. He's making good money. But no. I don't think that any other player from Hoffenheim is impressing me at all, to be honest.
Wow. There you go, Newcastle fans like myself. We got absolutely mugged off for £40 million. You heard it first on my channel.
Players, obviously, they can develop. There's one good example, Alexander Isak, the Swedish striker, who's playing for Real Sociedad in Spain now. He played in Dortmund before. They signed him when he was 17 years old. He didn't play well at all. It was all kind of too big of a story for him, I guess. Going from Sweden to Dortmund, where the pressure is quite high, and when you're young and you're not performing well, nobody really talks about you, and you're not getting any confidence at all. So that was an issue for him. They loaned him to the Dutch league, where he can score quite easily as a striker, but still he played very well there. He played very well, and then he moved to Spain. And now they bought his how do you call it? It's a clause in his contract, release clause. Yes, Dortmund was able to buy him back for 30 million euros, and now they got like 5 or 6 million euros, so they can't activate that clause. So he's playing well there, and he needed the playing time. So I don't want to say that the Newcastle deal with Hoffenheim is a bad deal. Maybe it will turn out to be a good deal. But that sounds like a lot of money to me.
I tell you what, though, I'm not being impressed with Jordan at all whatsoever. He hasn't even hit double figures first at all whatsoever, and that tells you everything that you need to know. I'm sure he's a lovely lad, but not for Newcastle United. He is definitely the answer. But not to Jordan. This is England Germany show. And please come on and see Tuesday's match could well be Joachim Löw's last match in charge for Germany. What has been said out was the standout moments during his time as manager, apart from, of course, winning the World Cup. What was his best moments?
That's hard to say because I'm very critical of him. So it's not that easy. I mean, you have to pay respect to him because he was able to guide Germany to the semifinals in every single tournament except for the World Cup in Russia. He went to the final at the Euros 08. He went to the semis in the Euros 012 and the semis in 016. He went to the World Cup semi-final in 010, won the World Cup in 014. I mean, that's a very good record, but he had very good players. He had players who later went on to win the Champions League numerous times. He got young talent. He got experienced players. He got probably the best goalkeeper of the last decades. I mean, it's hard not to win with those kind of players. And yeah, so for me, it's hard to find a standout moment during his time as a manager, apart from winning the World Cup. And to be honest, he only won that World Cup because Philipp Lahm, we all remember Philipp Lahm, who was a great left and right back, actually. He wanted to play in the midfield. I said, yeah, put me there in the midfield. And then another player got injured and he had to put back Philipp Lahm on the right back position. That's the reason why we won the World Cup in 2014. Not because Löw did a great job. Everything was like basically overshadowed by the win against Brazil, the 7-1 win. But it was a tough road for Germany to go to the final. The final went to extra time. The game against France was a tough one. Was just decided by set pieces, by a header after a free kick. The game against Algeria, and all kinds of respect to the national team of Algeria, it went to extra time. So it just wasn't like we won the World Cup and dominated all the matches. So I'm very critical of Löw, as you can see, but yeah, it's hard to find a standout moment for another one.
Fair enough. The Aston Ops and Aston Dunes anyway. I'm going to rattle these comments as well. John, we're going to come to the prediction later on. He thinks win by a goal and nil. Afternoon, so there might be a corner with Muller and Rice. But honestly, what are Germany's weaknesses that England should look at trying to exploit?
Speed. I think they're lacking speed at the back. Gosens is their fastest player. Rudiger can be fast, but he's not that mobile, I think. Hummels is not fast at all. He's living by his experience, and he understands the game very well. But also in the middle, Kroos and Gündogan, they're not the fastest kind of players. So if you give possession to the German team and probably give more space to the right German side, it will or should pay off for England to have some counterattacks, to use their speed, because England is a quick team. I said before, Foden and Sancho would be a nightmare combination for the German team. And if you are Gareth Southgate, you have to play Sancho and Foden. I think they're probably the two fastest players on this team. And I might even consider not starting Harry Kane because I would put some other player there who's really quick, and because you can rely on your speed a little bit more, because Kane is a great finisher. I like Harry Kane. If you put the wingers on his left and on his right, he can score in any kind of game, in any kind of situation. But if you're not having the ball and you're not getting the crosses in, why waste one position for Harry Kane if he's not fitting in tactically? So maybe that's another option. I know Southgate will never do that, but I would.
I think he's spanned with Southgate, to be honest with you, that sort of thing. Harry Kane, I'm not gonna be funny with Harry Kane. I think he's a fantastic player. Is he world class? That's open to debate. But one thing I will say is, right, that for me, I think there's two reasons could be a problem with Harry Kane. First of all, he's worried, he's concerned about the transfer sort of thing because he wants to leave Spurs. And that is playing with his head sort of thing. Like, if he wants to leave Spurs, that should have got done before the tournament. And secondly, he's carrying an injury sort of thing. It's one of the two. I don't know what it is, but I reckon it could be a bit of both. I mean, the transfer speculation is worrying in a bit, and also the injury as well, carrying an injury sort of thing. It's not the Harry Kane I've seen at the minute, but at the end of the day, he's trying. But I just don't think it's the Harry Kane I'm watching at this moment in time. No one has got 0 goals so far in a minute. So, but will Southgate drop him? He never will. He's made that pretty clear. He will not drop him at all whatsoever. But I can guarantee you, for a different nationality team like Germany, Italy, Spain, Belgium, he would be dropped. If Lukaku doesn't play well, he'll get dropped. If Immobile doesn't play well, he'll get dropped. If Morata doesn't play well, he'll get dropped. Do you know what I mean? But Gareth Southgate just keeps on playing Harry Kane because he's a big, big name we've got. And for me, I mean, would I drop him? I don't know. He's only the best player we've got up front. So, yeah, we're going to have to keep and persevere with the lad. But we'll have to see what happens on Tuesday. And I've got Lela as well. Gosens is a star. Of course he is. He's absolutely class. And I've got Andy here. Hi, John. How's it going? I feel your guests will be very upset after Tuesday. Have faith, my Geordie friend. Zachary Grealish play. I'm confident. What do you make of that? Andy's always comes to me channel. Came on twice. Love the guy. He's a top gooner. And yeah.
Yeah, I won't be that upset because I know this German team got its issues. So, I mean, like before the 2014 World Cup, everybody in Germany was getting into the tournament like, we need to win this. This is our time to win the tournament finally. And also in 2016, it was like, okay, now this team has to win the European Championship because they are just good enough. In 2018, it was also a little bit different. And now, because the atmosphere surrounding the coach and this team is not the best over the last couple of years. They put in a hashtag called Die Mannschaft. Nobody called Germany Die Mannschaft before in Germany. They did a lot of marketing, too much marketing. People were getting upset that they got a fan club sponsored by whatever and all those commercials from the players. The fans in Germany just didn't like it. So also for me personally, this kind of feeling I had going into the 2014 World Cup, it's not there anymore. Not because they won the title, but the way they handled everything after winning that title. And so I wouldn't be upset. Of course, I wouldn't be happy, but it's not like in 2014 or earlier when I was 16 years old and they went to England and won the European Championship in '96. Then you were like, oh, come on, you were really into the games. And these days it has changed, which is a shame, to be honest, because you should always support your national team. So, but I wouldn't be upset. That's strange, I think.
Very, very strange. I have to agree there. I've got Lela as well, Captain Lela. Even though Kimmich is a good player, he doesn't rate him at right back at all. Do you think he's a good right back, or where would you play him?
I think he's our best option at right back. So you have to consider, do you play your best option, or do you play him in the midfield? He's a great midfield player. But in the midfield, we also have Kroos, Gündogan, Goretzka, and we just have 2 positions, 2 slots to fill, and 3 very good players. So if you move Kimmich from the right side to the center, it's 4 very good players for 2 slots. Do you think he would ever drop Toni Kroos? No chance. He is Germany's Harry Kane. He will never be dropped. He can be as slow as I don't know. It doesn't matter. He will always play. He's his guy in the midfield. So there's just 1 slot left for a player like Goretzka, Gündogan, or Kimmich. So if you put Kimmich on the right back position, at least you got some kind of solution because we got no better player there on that position. He's the best player we can put on the right back position, and I think that's why it's the right choice at the moment.
Yeah, I quite like Kimmich, by the way. He does work hard for the team. I really do. Good tackler, lovely cross of the ball, and big fan of him. I got Jordy as well. You mentioned about Southgate. I haven't been managing much. Southgate fell to Middlesbrough. He got sacked back in 2009. after they won the game. We got sat on the same night, by the way, and then went on to manage England youth level before managing the first team. The majority of players in the common squad have played for him at youth level. That's including Geordie. So,
yeah, that's the truth. I mean, the players know him, but for me, it's also about the respect of the whole team. You know, this kind of natural authority that a coach needs to have. Look at Roberto Mancini of the Italian team. He has won a lot of things as a player, and also he has won a lot of trophies as a coach at Inter, at Man City, and I think he has won 10 Italian Cups alone. He has won some Italian championships. He's well respected. Not a single player at the Italian team would ever doubt Roberto Mancini. But I think that it's just my feeling, because I'm very far away, that there are many players at the English national team who would doubt Gareth Southgate. And that's the difference. It's not about not respecting his knowledge, but the man himself. You know, this natural authority you have. I don't know. Guardiola has it. Jurgen Klopp has it. Thomas Tuchel at Chelsea now, he has it. Carlo Ancelotti. Those kind of coaches, they get the respect of every single player on the roster. And that's why I think with Southgate it's a little bit difficult. But I don't know what kind of options you have, because you don't have this English coach who's like 55 years old and well respected and has won and has a proven record. I mean, could Brendan Rodgers be an option? I don't know. I think he is probably a good coach, but I'm not sure if he's an option for your national team. So it's hard to find that kind of coach.
Brendan Rodgers will not manage England because he's Northern Ireland, so I don't think he'll manage England whatsoever. But I tell you what, though, if Newcastle United get a takeover, that sort of thing, that's one manager I'd take. But Brendan Rodgers will not leave Leicester. There's no way. If the three managers I'd take at Newcastle, if the takeover happens, and that's Diego Simeone, Roberto De Zerbi's just left Sassuolo to go to Shakhtar Donetsk, and maybe it's Jose Mourinho. But one manager I'd take as a project if it take over is Roberto Mancini. He has done it. He's got Premier League experience. He plays good football. It takes no nonsense. The training facilities, the training program he does, and the project he produces is absolutely fantastic. And he's won he won the Premier League title as well. So I'd definitely take Mancini all day long. But you're right. And I got later. Do you generally have an out and out right back? Or it's just going to be Kimmich, isn't it, really?
Yeah, it is. I can take a quick look at the roster, but that's probably it. We had one player from Leipzig, but I always mix him up with the left back because they're same kind of player and the name is similar, and one of them is injured. No, at the moment, if Kimmich is out, we got a problem at the right back position.
You don't want that. You don't want to be injured at all whatsoever. So I got Andy again. We have some of the best young talent in England, which we will get better. Bellingham, Sancho, Saka, sort of thing. Yes.
Absolutely.
That is.
Absolutely. I said that before. They just need the experience. Bellingham had an outstanding season in Dortmund. He's 17 years old. I mean, he's a heck of a player. I just wish that he will stay in Dortmund for like 5, 6, 7 years, because he would leave as a club legend, to be honest. If he decides to play into his 30s only in Dortmund, people will build some sort of stature in front of the stadium for him. Trust me, he's loved by the fans. And Sancho, Foden, and all the other players, England got the young talent. The talent is absolutely there. I totally agree.
I'd love to see Jadon Sancho play in Serie A and Jude Bellingham. So I'd love to see them both playing in Italy at some stage. Do you know what I mean? No disrespect to Premier League, but I'd love to see him play in Italy, sort of thing. But you just never know. But you're right. But Sancho, is he going to play till he's 30 at Dortmund? Probably not, because money talks at the end of the day. That's all it is. Money talks. And I hope you hang on to Haaland as well, or Haaland as well, because he's being talked about, and he's being talked about. £155 million if he's going to leave Borussia Dortmund. And mate, I think he's fantastic. He's a fantastic striker. Him, the big lad.
I mean, Haaland is he's massive. He's massive, and he has that kind of will, what it takes to be a world-class player. He absolutely wants to win every single game. He wants to score on every single shot. Him and Mats Hummels are the only two players at Borussia Dortmund who got that kind of attitude. The kind of attitude you need to play at Bayern Munich, for example. That kind of attitude to play in Barcelona, to play for Real Madrid, for Liverpool when they won the Champions League. When you got this kind of attitude like Haaland, I mean, he scored already 20 goals in the Champions League. He will finish with more than 100 goals in the Champions League, I guess, if he plays until his early 30s. Great player, a very good, hardworking character guy. No nonsense. All right, today all this kind of young players on social media, they do a lot of nonsense, but that's a different kind of matter. But I think he's a great player, and regarding all the young English talent, it's no problem. Just be patient and wait 1 or 2, 3 more tournaments, and they will play for the title for sure.
Yeah, let's hope so. I've got Lil again. Have you watched Milot Rashica? And what do you think of him? Norwich have got to pay the club. I don't know how much he costs for Werder Bremen, but how good is this guy? This is sort of player Newcastle United should be getting, but Norwich got there first.
Yeah, I think they paid like 10 million pounds, 10, 11, 12 million pounds, that kind of money. I think he's a good player. He's a quick player. He's a skilled player. He needs to work a little bit on his finishing touch, but he can help Norwich. I think it's a good option to buy a player like this for this kind of money. It's a good move.
Yeah, I think as well, sort of thing. That's the case. I mean, Daniel Farke sort of thing is a decent manager as well for Norwich. I mean, how did they rate him back in Germany? Have you been watching his progress in Germany, the way he's managing Norwich City?
Because he was managing in Dortmund before, so we know him quite well. Seems to be a nice guy. He's from this new coaching generation, those coaches who have a different approach to the game than those old school coaches. They talk more to their players like coaches did in the past. They're more close to the players in a way that a 60-year-old coach maybe can't be. So he seems to be a good guy, actually.
Yeah, let's hope he does well. I mean, he did in the Premier League, and last of the season before they got relegated again. I think Norwich did well to hold on to him, and then now he knows exactly what it's all about, sort of thing in the Premier League, and I think he'll try to keep him up this time. But good question there, Leila. I've just got Russ. Big up, John Ladd. I hope you're okay, Russ, and absolutely great to hear from you, Leila. Leipzig has a great scouting network, and also I'm a huge fan of Nkunku and Mukiele. And also, did they qualify for the Champions League? I think they did.
Yeah, they did. They got a very good scouting system. They can get most players from RB Salzburg, so that's quite a good thing for them, because if they get players from France, from Africa or South America, they can go to Austria first and develop in Austria, learn the German language, and then move to Leipzig, and they fit in quite well. They play the same kind of system. The coaches, sometimes they even move from Salzburg to Leipzig. So I know that fans in Germany don't like it, but it's a very smart system. And the scouting is really, really, really good at Leipzig. It's fun to watch them play because they're a very good club. Maybe you don't like them, but they play good football.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, Leipzig are a good team, by the way, as well. And they do spend big as well, by the way. They spend a lot of money, and they sell them for profits as well. And Upamecano as well has just gone to Bayern Munich. Nagelsmann's also gone to Bayern as well. So he was never, I can say it now, if Spurs fans listen to this, he was never, ever, ever going to leave Leipzig for Spurs. It was only going to be for Bayern Munich anyway. So have I got that one right?
Yeah, I mean, the Kimmich, he also played for Leipzig. I think he only played there for 1 or 2 seasons, and then he went to Bayern, because when you can play for Bayern Munich, you can play for the Champions League title every single season. And of course, you win a lot of trophies playing there. David Alaba, who now moved to Real Madrid, he won 10 German league titles there. And he played there 12 seasons. So only 2 seasons he didn't win the league title. That's how good of a team Bayern Munich is these days. They're just too dominant. If you ask me, it's not that much fun anymore to watch their games. But yeah, it's a very well-run club, and of course they take profit from a good work at Leipzig from time to time as well, depending if they like the player or not. And Upamecano, he's also massive, very, very good player.
Yeah. I mean, I think Leipzig will probably be very close to winning the Champions League one day. You just never know. Bayern will probably regain it. You just don't know. And just as what happens, the reason they didn't win it this year because they lost Lewandowski through injury against PSG. If he had played, I think he would have beaten PSG again. Let's be real about it. And but I'm sure Bayern will reclaim that title under Nagelsmann very soon. And Jordy, the problem with Southgate is that he respected by the English FA, we talked about earlier on, that much. There's talking of him getting a new deal. I've heard that. I would rather have a manager who's proven like Italy have with Mancini. Now, again, the reason Southgate is going to get a new deal because he's a yes man and he's a puppet to them. That's all he is. And not only that, you've got Eddie Howe, he's 44 years old. It could be a good England manager sort of thing. You got others as well. I mean, there's not many English managers out there. Do you know what I mean? He's going to take the role. That's why they kept to Southgate. He's only managed Middlesbrough. That is it. And, but I would not have him at Newcastle United. He would certainly not get top German clubs as well. But I don't know what you think of it, but respected by the English FA, and isn't they going to keep him on?
It's very hard. It's very hard to think of a good option compared to Southgate. I mean, we've talked about it earlier. What kind of options do you have? In Germany, we had the same kind of problem. Now there are very good young coaches coming up, but before there was some lack of quality coaches. For example, we lost all the generation of the '96 European Championship winning team. Most of those players, they did whatever, but they didn't turn out to become good coaches. So in that kind of age, we didn't have any good coaches. We got older coaches and very young coaches, but this middle age, I would say, we didn't get any good coaches. And I think England had the same problem. From this '96 almost European Championship winning side, which was a very good team, Southgate became a coach. What's going on, for example, with guys like Gary Neville? They basically disappeared. Okay, they're on TV, but they disappeared when it comes to coaching all those kind of players from that team. I don't know what happened to them. Alan Shearer, what is he doing? I got no clue. All those kind of players, they didn't become outstanding coaches. It's quite interesting.
Yeah, Alan Shearer came and managed Newcastle for the last 8 years and couldn't keep us up. I said to myself, Alan, please don't do it. Do not do it. He did and got relegated. Then Mike Ashley wanted to keep him because they wanted to speak to him if they've done. And then Alan Shearer told Mike Ashley, the owner of Newcastle, what he wanted. And then when he went away, Alan Shearer was never, ever contacted by Mike Ashley at all whatsoever. Now he works for Match of the Day as a pundit for the BBC Match of the Day, and as to Gary Neville, he works for Sky Sports, but he did manage at Valencia for a couple of games, which for me, that's the wrong move. I couldn't believe Gary Neville was the manager of Valencia with very little managerial experience. If I was a Valencia fan, I think, hold on a minute, he hasn't even coached, and you're taking this guy on. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. Do you know what I mean? It's like getting Ian Wright managing Man United. That Valencia are a huge club, and you have to speak Spanish as well. And Gary Neville had very little Spanish in them as well. And he already just kept them up because the games they were losing, they were heading for relegation. They're heading for one way, and that's relegation. But it took a late goal, I think, to keep them up. And, excuse me, for me, Gary Neville, I mean, he had to be sacked because they do not want a club like Valencia getting relegated. They are a terrific club, but it's a difficult club as well. And I don't know a lot about Spanish football nowadays, but listen, Gary Neville, that's the only club he managed. That's it.
Yeah, that was really a strange move. I couldn't believe it either. I thought, what the hell is going on with Valencia? Because they should get a coach there who's at least able to speak a little bit Spanish. And of course, some coach who got the experience, you need to have some experience to coach a club like that. It's and also you got to have more experience to coach the English national team. Southgate, as you said before, he's a guy who says yes and all right and thank you and polite guy, probably a very nice guy. I don't know him, but yeah, that's not how you can win a European Championship.
Now, the reason he's loved because of the waistcoat he wore at the World Cup. That's the reason why he's famous. That's it. That is it. But if they do give him a new deal, then we're not going to win another tournament. They're not going to win the big tournaments. So that's good luck for that. But I'm not impressed. Not impressed at all. Just a couple more things to go, right? Just quickly on the Bundesliga and come back to England for the predictions as well. I mean, the 3 teams that came up, I believe, was Bochum. I believe two clubs came as Bochum's one of them. I think it was Fruits is another one.
Yes, Greuther Fürth is the second one. And the third one didn't go up because they had the relegation against Cologne, and Cologne won the relegation, so the Cologne stays in the first league. So we got 2 new teams in the Bundesliga: VfL Bochum and Greuther Fürth.
Fantastic. And how do you think they'll do next season? Bearing in mind, you've got other teams in trouble. Teams are struggling minds.
Yeah, I think Bochum has a chance to stay in the league because we got teams like Bielefeld and also Stuttgart might be able to stay in, but they will fight relegation. Cologne will fight relegation. With Greuther Fürth, last time they played in the Bundesliga, like 10 years ago, I think they didn't win a single home game. They won 2 games all season long. For them, it will be really tough, but they're happy just to be in the league. Bochum is more of a traditional club who played in the Bundesliga many times before. Great fans, great tradition. I think they got a shot to stay in the Bundesliga, but will be very hard for both teams.
Let's hope so. Let's hope they do well because Bochum they got a big stadium as well, and when that ground is full and someone gets it right at that club, then believe me, they will get it right at that club as well. And you got, like I said, so I think they're a good club. And the Foots, I think they probably struggle. And Arminia Bielefeld could struggle the season. Cologne, Stuttgart as well. Talking about Stuttgart, just one question before we go back to the prediction. Nicolas Gonzalez has just joined Fiorentina for nearly £20 million. How good is this guy? And what do you think of him?
Yeah, I like him a lot. I followed the move on Italian TV because I watch a lot of Sky Italia because it's they do a lot of coverage of the European Championship and of course of the transfer market because Italians are crazy for the transfer market rumors. And I have to say that's a good signing. I think he will do well in Italy. It's a little bit more similar to his roots when it comes to the culture. And I think the style of play in the Italian league also will be a good fit for him. That's a good move.
Good for him. I wish the kid well because at the end of the day, Fiorentina have got huge problems in a minute. I mean, Gattuso's left after 23 days. You got Vlahovic could be on his way if they sign. There's got to be something going on there. They sign Gonzalez, and then I think Vlahovic could be on his way. He scored 22 goals last season. They need a goal scorer just in case because actually Fiorentina could be in huge trouble next season if they don't get the managerial thing right. They just appointed Italiano for Spezia as well. That'll be done tomorrow, Tuesday, I believe. So, yeah, glad Fiorentina got that all sorted out. So, yeah, just on to predictions. England, Germany. What the score's going to be, and who do you think is going to win the Euros?
Well, when it comes to predictions, I'm probably the worst guy to ask on the planet, but I think Germany will move on because Löw got a little bit more experience than Southgate, and maybe he's able to outcoach them in this game. I think it will go to to extra time, and Germany will win by 1 goal. It will be a close game. And the European Championship will be won by Belgium. Belgium has a very good team. They got a deep team. Kevin De Bruyne is back again. He's an awesome player. Lukaku seems unstoppable right now. Courtois is a very good goalkeeper. They got all the pieces they need to win a title, and maybe that's what I said earlier, that Germany needed to gain that experience from that young team they had back in the late zeros, and then they gained the experience and won the World Cup. The same with France. The French team got older and they won the World Cup, and now maybe it's a time for Belgium with all the players like in the late 20s, early 30s. This might be the time for Belgium to win the title.
Sure, they got a young generation as well, and would it be imagine if they did win under Martinez, could be on his way to bigger and better things. Everton fans don't want to hear that. And for me, I'm going to say, it's a hard one. I'm going to stick my neck out and I'm going to say England to win. I think we will concede a goal. I say England 2, Germany 1 after extra time. And for me, it's going to be Italy. For me, I said Italy from the start, and I'm going to stick with Italy as well, because they're going to have to play a lot better than they did yesterday. Second half was absolutely poor, but they scored 2 big goals from Chiesa and Pessina as well. And they watched the first goal. Lovely piece of skill win played by Chiesa. Brilliant goal. And I still think they'll win it. And for me, England beat Germany by 2-1. I'm sorry to say that, but it may not be, but I hope I'm right. And let's hope that it's going to be a cracking game tomorrow on Tuesday. And we'll see what both managers have to see it tomorrow. But tactically wise, I think we'll probably play 3 at the back. I think Mings will come back in, play 3 at the back. 3-4-3 for us. And I'd like to see Sancho starting, definitely. Sterling will start. Keane will have to start. And let's make the best team win. But Sacha, did you enjoy coming on my show today?
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to come another time, but I don't know if I'm able to do it during the European Championship, because I'm also busy working. And as I said before, the Olympics are coming up, and I got a lot of games to cover. And sometimes it's in the middle of the night because of the time difference to Japan. So I got a lot of stuff to do, but it was great to join you on the show. It was a lot of fun. It's great that we got some questions coming in, and I hope everyone enjoyed it as well.
Sacha, thank you very much for the comments there, and thanks for your kind words. And it's been a pleasure seeing you. And before I let you go, I just want to tell all me, if you want to catch on my channels, could you please stick a like on the video, subscribe if you are new, and also follow us on Twitter, John_NEFC42, and also follow Sacha Stat on his Twitter account. And where do you find you on YouTube? Where do viewers come and find you? Can you tell the viewers?
No, I just follow me on Twitter. That's probably the easiest option. It's just my name, @SachaStart. That's the easiest way to find me. I'm watching a lot of more YouTube lately, but I still have to find a way getting into the YouTube world.
Wow, I thought you were the expert, man.
Yeah, I'll try. Maybe I can get as many people watching me as watching you then.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Spread the word, man. And I'll do the same to you as well. And, you're a good guy. And, I mean, like I said, thank you very much for coming on. And, guys, I'm going to sign off and just enjoy your football and enjoy the rest. So best of luck on Tuesday. And let's hope to make the best team win. And let's hope it'll be yours.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and enjoy the games today.
Thank you very much indeed, Sacha. Thank you very much indeed. You take care, man.
Take care, John. See you.